My name is Stanley, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bric. I'm originally from Omaha, Nebraska, born and raised, went to Bric High School, and then after Bric attended the University of Nebraska at Omaha and graduated with a degree in economics. So the idea for Bric came from my first startup, Contemporary Analysis. At Contemporary Analysis, we provided predictive analytics and data science to Fortune 500 companies. And while working at Contemporary Analysis, I realized that there was a need for workforce analytics, that most of the data science and predictive analytics was happening on things and transactions, and that people had left the understanding your workforce alone because there's some really unique challenges. And so what Bric is it is a platform for doing workforce analytics, and we have used our software and the way that we deliver our data capture to overcome some of those unique challenges. The name Bric is actually short for fabric, because we help you weave together your people and your projects. So I started Contemporary Analysis at 20 and Bric at 30, and starting a company at 30 is way different than starting at 20. Our first customers were the first customers of Bric were also customers of Contemporary Analysis. They had seen what we had been able to do with data science and decided to move over to Bric. So I love numbers. I love modeling and research methods. I had built a landscaping company before my first startup, and the landscaping company had used data and analytics to figure out who was most likely to buy what and at what price. It was basically the Jiffy Lube of landscaping. So I would walk around the neighborhood. I was 10 when I started this company, and I'd walk around the neighborhood and I'd collect data about all the houses and like when you left for work and when you came home from work and what was wrong with your house. And by the time I sold that when I was 20, I could call you and say, hey, Mrs. Doe, I have Randy, he's going to be in the area on Tuesday. I've noticed that your gutters need repaired. He can do that and it'll be $400. And she'd say, okay, let me ask around and get some quotes. Well, I could bid within about $20 of my largest competitor, and so if you called my competitor, you got about the same price, and I was proactive and had been paying attention to your needs, and so I ended up building the fourth largest boutique landscaping company in Omaha. Then in college, this was the early days of Facebook, where people were very free with what they were doing and sharing, and I had used that data to model the optimal day to meet women between the ages of 18 and 21 pursuing degrees in business law or medicine who will graduate with a 3.5 or higher GPA, who will date me for at least 8 months. And then one day I was sitting in class and they were describing something called econometrics, and all of a sudden I went, oh my goodness, that is what I've been doing. I've been using math and looking for patterns and using calculus to balance out multiple variables to figure out what are the driving what are the driving variables that make something happen. And that was when I decided to start my first company, Contemporary Analysis, where we provided data science to Fortune 500 companies. And that was before the term data science or predictive analytics had come out. At that time, it was called econometrics. And so I was trying to sell econometrics from an econometrician, and nobody wants to deal with an econometrician. Thankfully, those terms came out. And then while I was at Contemporary Analysis, I realized we could use data to improve a lot of the decisions that mid-level managers are making, because the data can listen to each employee as they work, looking for patterns, really paying attention to them, and then providing managers recommendations. So we're scaling management at Bric using data. So my goal when starting Bric it's my next step in my evolution as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs typically start off with simple services. They provide a service that there's already a market for. Then as they move to a more complicated business, they start to offer a service that there's not currently an established market, so they have to actually build the market. And Bric is, my goal was to build a product, so not a service, for an existing market. And now it has evolved from just project planning and time tracking, something that we have thousands of companies using Bric for time tracking and project planning, but now we are moving into a much more complicated product, which is the platform for workforce analytics, where we're taking what we have done with the project planning and time tracking and using that data to provide management with recommendations on recruiting, retention, who to put on which teams, and recommendations for project portfolio management. So we started off with 3 people, and we're still 3 people. I do the product management and design, so I go through and meet with clients to figure out what do they need and write up the specs and then design them. And then my partner, Josh Haas, he's in charge of engineering, so he does all the development and coding. Then once he's built something that I've spec'd out and designed, then he and I work together to test it. And then Hunter is responsible for sales and marketing. So he's meeting with new prospects, running the e-newsletter and our social media and writing blog posts. So with those 3 team members, we can cover almost all the needs of all the roles of running a software company. We do have to work a lot of hours. It's not uncommon to we're putting in about 12-hour days right now, 6 to 7 days a week. When I started my first business, my partner and I didn't have any formal group. We would meet with business owners every Thursday and Friday. Actually, I met with 100 business owners in a year, asking them for advice and mentorship, and it was great to have that community. So when we started Bric, we decided to join a formal organization. We went through the Straight Shot program, and then we were founding members of the Omaha Startup Collaborative. And being a part of a community when you're getting your business off the ground was really helpful for us. It gave us instant credibility. It was very easy to get meetings with people because they just wanted to know you're part of this cool thing that's already has trust and credibility, and we want to learn more. And so it was really useful to be a part of an incubator when getting started, because it took care of that initial, who are you guys? What are you doing? Like, why should I talk to you? We had instant trust. Before creating Bric, I really wanted to build something like Basecamp or Flywheel. I had spent a lot of time interacting with people that were just building really cool solutions that thousands of people could use. And I was building at Contemporary Analysis solutions for Fortune 500 companies. And I was like, I want to try to build something that helps thousands of people build the businesses of their dreams. The hardest thing about starting Bric was finding co-founders. When I started my first company, I was 20, and there were lots of other people going through college with me, or who had just recently graduated, who were looking for their first job. And so a startup was an easy way to get their career started. Starting Bric, I was 30, and most people had already had a career, and they were very successful. And I knew what I needed out of my team members and my co-founders. I needed senior talent. And so finding people who were senior level coders and designers and had experience, but were looking to take a risk, and looking to take a risk on my idea and not just their idea, That was really hard, but thankfully I've been able to put together a really solid team where we all believe in the mission of helping solve this workforce analytics issue where 50% of executive teams don't even know their true cost of labor. So there's just this black box of workforce analytics that we're solving. And thankfully I've been able to find a team that is excited about that. Bric sells a software as a subscription that helps teams plan and track time. The majority of our users have multiple people working on multiple projects. And that's really our sweet spot is if you have if you have 10 people and they're working on 30 different projects and you have people serving on different teams, that's where you need a system like Bric to help weave together your people and your projects. So what makes Bric so unique is that we're helping small business owners understand their numbers. I've talked to lots of our users, and one of the things that keeps coming back is I don't ever look at my financials because I don't understand them, or I'm nervous what they'll say. I've talked to a lady who has a very successful business. She's been in business for 10 years, and she's not sure she's ever made money. But within 30 days of using Bric, we're able to automate the financial reporting and budgeting. And so for the first time, a lot of these users know where they're making money, where they're losing money. They finally understand what types of contract, or what different contract types are the most profitable or the least profitable. We once had a user who thought he was making $350 an hour on fixed bid projects. And he was making about $150 an hour on fixed bid projects, and which was still great because he was making a profit at $150 an hour. But the problem is he was spending money as if he was making $350 an hour. And so Bric just brought clarity to that, and that's probably the most exciting thing about Bric. So I've got a rule for startups. That there's three things that you can spend your money on, and only two of them make you money. You can build product or do operations, provide a service. You can do sales and marketing, or you can do administrative work. When thinking about budget decisions at Bric, I always prioritize our product and sales and marketing. Too many startups spend a lot of money on administrative work and accounting and things like that, where at the end of the day, if you've got a great product and you have customers paying to use it, everything else will take care of itself. In the early years of Bric, our focus was on our product. We would do sales, but it was basically to validate, hey, we're headed down the right path. People will pay for this, people like this, and to get customers driving our feature development. Now we are starting to expand our sales and marketing efforts. We just passed 1,300 users on our system, and we have users in 77 different countries. Bric advertises and finds our customers through content marketing and app directories. So we're constantly developing content to educate people on how to run a business. So they're looking for how much should I bill my clients? How should I set up my billable rates? What's employee utilization? And we've developed a lot of content around that area, and so then they sign up for our product. We've also spent a lot of money and time increasing our ranking in app directories. So people go to app stores and they're searching for time tracking and project planning solutions, or project portfolio management solutions, or resource management, and our goal is to always be at the top of that list. It's very important for corporations to be involved in their community and to give back, but it can be lethal to startups. Anything that distracts you from building your product or selling your product sometimes it'll just slow you down, but it can also be detrimental. Having said that, it is very important for the CEO of the startup to engage with people outside of the startup. So what I have a policy where I will meet with anyone once for breakfast, lunch, coffee. I just want to get to know as many people as I possibly can. And my goal is to see, can I help them? Can I challenge some of their ideas? Can I learn about what they're working on? So I'm not trying to be a part of a movement, but I'm trying to help, trying to discover great talent. And so it's more about the individual, helping the individual that I'm meeting with, instead of being a part of some type of rallying cry. So my favorite thing about Omaha is the lack of distractions. I don't have to worry, my bills are very small, I don't have to worry about traffic too much. I can just focus on building my startup. And one of the things that I've noticed over the last 10 years is when I started Contemporary Analysis, people thought I was crazy to be an entrepreneur. We didn't have a concept of an entrepreneur, we just thought of them as small business owners. And over the last 10 years, there's been a lot more resources to really go out and take a risk, be an entrepreneur, push the envelope. So Bric has benefited from the prototyping grant that has helped us build our product. One thing I wish it would help us with is we spend a lot of time in Omaha putting money towards product, because product is tangible. If I spend money building a product, at the end of the day, I at least have a thing. But what we miss is that results happen when people buy my product. And so we need more programs around sales and marketing. We should be giving, if you get the prototyping grant, we should be setting aside $10,000 for advertising. So Omaha is a great place to build something. We now need to move it to a great place to sell and market. We need a PR. We don't have a great PR agency where we're going to help people get in national publications. Our PR in the Midwest is focused on, I did something wrong, something happened, I had a disaster, and I need to mitigate my risk. Where it should be about promotion. That's what makes startups on the coast so successful, is I build an idea and I can promote and get millions of people thinking about my idea within a month. I mean, it's almost instant. It's crazy. One of the challenges that Omaha has is we have a lot of large corporations. We have lots of Fortune 500 employers. We don't have very many small business employers. And so what happens is you have families where you have majority of people are getting solid career tracks and good large company salaries, and that makes working for a small business or starting a small business or being an entrepreneur really difficult, because you have this, it's hard not to compare yourself to your sister who's working at Union Pacific and making $120,000 a year, and you're over here working just as hard or maybe a little bit harder. You have the same level of intelligence, the same education, but you're having to take a discount because you're working on a small business. We need more of a small business culture. That's one of the things that Lincoln has in spades. Is it's not much different working for a startup in Lincoln as most of their other employers, because most of their other employers are small businesses or the university. There's a really unfortunate trend that I see in Omaha is right now Omaha is a very comfortable place to live. It's a place that I hope to live for as long as I possibly can. But there's not a lot of jobs that are developing people's careers. There's not a lot of employers where if I take a project with them, or if I take a position that in 5 or 10 years, I'm going to be at the top of my field. And so what you get is a comfortable place to live, comfortable jobs that don't push you, don't expose you to the projects that are going to push you to the top of your field. And so if that trend continues, you're going to have a small town, you're going to have a suburb. You're going to have almost going to be the suburbs of the United States. And we're going to lose a lot of our economic viability We've already seen that with not being able to keep a lot of not able to keep Fortune 1000 or Fortune 500 companies, because they want, at the end of the day, they do want the top talent. They want those people who are the leaders in their field. And so we need more jobs like that. And the way we're going to get that, the way we're going to get people pushing on machine learning and blockchain, people who are leading teams through hard struggles and leading teams of teams, not just bureaucratic organizations, is through encouraging small business development. But you're not going to get small business development if these large employers are providing a very comfortable alternative. So it's just this wicked catch-22, and I don't know if I see a solution. You should move to Omaha because creativity doesn't happen without stability. So you have to have 80-90% of your life taken care of, stable, your bills paid, you need to have food. You cannot be stressed and be at your maximum for creativity. And entrepreneurship requires having the time to explore the world, having the patience, having the lack of stress to be able to refine an idea over and over and over. And Omaha provides that in spades. You won't have to rush. You won't have to rush an idea. You'll have the time to refine it and make it perfect. It'd be like Elon, right? Like Elon, if you have $20 billion, you basically have that nice Omaha life in Los Angeles. Or in Omaha, if you've got a couple $100,000 in savings, you can live for a decade and focus solely on building your idea and building your startup.
Do you do? What do you do? It's nice to meet you. What is your name? And red or white and 2 or 3? It's up to you. Let's go through.